My name is Robb Hernandez, co-curator of Mundos Alternos, Art and Science Fiction in the Americas, and you are about to enter a section of the show called Alien Skins. Alien Skins invites us to consider performance, dance, movement, disguise, camouflage, and the performance of everyday life as a mode of alternative existence. In this show, you will be visited by different alien personas, performance artists that are literally dragging the future with them in the way that they navigate the world, that traverse ordinary cultural landscapes, or even sashay through their barrios in a different time, in a different space, perhaps even working against our very own concept of reality. The AZTLAN dance company, Austin, Texas's own longest Mexican-American dance troupe, in a performance called Sexto Sol, the Cumbia Cruiser's Guide to the Galaxy, we see Paul del Bosque in his alter ego, Silver Sky Dancer, covered in aluminum and luminous adornment as a literally cumbia cruiser through space and time. He confronts 12-12-12, otherwise known in the Mayan prophecy as the end of days. And so by finding Los Picadientes rendition of Billie Jean by Michael Jackson, he begins to perform a powerful moonwalk using his accordion and electrical cord accoutrements to then awaken the slumbering Mayan cruisers from their hyperbaric unconscious state. You will also see light fields, perhaps the same light fields bathing our experience of the cosmic ropa of L.A. David, also known as L.A. Vato Cosmico. As San Antonio's own artist and sort of futurist persona, L.A. David invites us to think about ways in which artists emboldened by the Chicano movement are literally dragging the future across our present barrios and political circumstances. Another artist you will visit in the show is McAllen's own Luis Valderas. Luis Valderas currently resides in San Antonio, and he is also one of the co-architects of Proyecto MASA, or Project MASA, the Mexicano Alliance of Space Artists.
Well, Project MASA was a kind of a group collaborative that we kind of sat around in San Antonio. I arrived in San Antonio in the year 2000. And so that was an idea that we came about sitting around a barbecue one time and talking about issues of alien identity and human identity and the issues of immigration. And so that became the impetus to say, well, why aren't there Chicanos in outer space? And what would it be called if Chicanos went to outer space?
The costume is Valderas's own creation, a spacesuit equipped for both travel between worlds, between planets, something that allows him to visit what the Project MASA collective calls the brown side of the moon. You will happen upon a black tube dress, a glittering chest plate, a figure in moon rock. That figure belongs to Edmundo Mundo Mesa, or Mundo Mesa, born in Tijuana and raised on the east side of Los Angeles in the 1950s. Mundo Mesa was a consummate original, a gifted painter, performance artist, and someone who was on the cusp of experimental body art germinating in Los Angeles in the 1970s at the same time as Chris Burden, and also finding a voice among an exciting generation of Chicanx avant-gardists. Among his generation include Gronk, Harry Gamboa Jr., Patsy Valdez, Willie Heron, and Robert Ciclona Ligorreta. And then on Halloween night, he dons a alien drag along with his partner, Jeff Harike, and they enter a costume contest. And that night, he is no longer alien. That night, the alien wins the award for best costume. And he perhaps forgets about his AIDS diagnosis for just one moment and hoping that a cure would be found in the near future. Mundo Mesa dies from AIDS-related complications on February 11th, 1985. He was 29. A close collaborator of Mundo Mesa's was the experimental performance artist Robert Ciclona Ligorreta. Ciclona, literally the name given to the sassy women of the Pachuca, the Zoot Suit Pachuco era of the 1940s. As the Ciclona, he claims to not only have gained his powers through lunar moon cycles, but also through his own psychic abilities. In 1989, just years after Mundo Mesa's death, he collaborates with designer and artist Mike Moreno.
The reason for this was we were doing our first anniversary of the organization called Viva, which was an organization for gay and lesbian, bisexual, transgender Latinos, Latinas in LA and the surrounding areas. And we, as a group, had founded this organization with the kind of the vision of Roland Palencia. And this was our anniversary event, which was a year later, and we were trying to figure out something that was a little bit different than normal for the area and just what we normally do. Robert Ciclona was a friend of mine. He was a performance artist, and at the time, he was going to be part of the event, and he is an amazing rhythm and blues singer. I don't know if you've heard him sing, but he's amazing. And he wanted something that just would blow people away and was just out there, different, and something you're not going to find anywhere. So I said I would be happy to see if I could come up with something for him. And it took me a little bit to come up with. Usually when I do an art piece, I try to put a spiritual aspect to it and kind of look at the historical perspective of who he is as well as myself, because it is something that I'm creating.
Mike Moreno designs Ciclona a headdress composed of a small altar in the front, a third eye that dangles in the center, spokes that contain cathode tubes that permit the electrical energy that is generated from both his dance to commune with outer space, and that energy then permits Ciclona to be energized, to perform. He dances in cyclonic circles, remembering a performance that was modeled for him, choreographed by Mundo Mesa. And in that one moment, in an orbit that happens at the first anniversary celebration for Viva, Gay and Lesbian Latino Artists of LA, he remembers Mundo. In the work of conceptual photographer, the late Ricardo Valverde, we see in a photograph like Armando y Consuelo, Two Alien Muertos, we see the importation of the calavera with a sort of techno-noir drag imported from Blade Runner, a way in which young, contemporary barrio kids are then importing science fiction into their own cultural traditions. Animal hybridity also undergirds the experimental performance work of New York's own and Cuba's own Carmelita Tropicana. The costumes that you are about to see belong to a series of important performances in Tropicana's most recent oeuvre, works from Postplastica as well as Schwanzy Beast. Schwanzy Beast is a work in progress that germinated in a artist in residency that permitted her the opportunity to collaborate with feminist scientists. And in that collaboration, Tropicana imported ideas of gynarchical and matriarchal animal societies like those of honeybees as well as hyenas. In Hector Hernandez's Hyperbeast series, you see photographs taken from a close collaboration between the Austin-based photographer and a choreographer/dancer. Appearing in front of Jaime's used car shop in East Austin, the Hyperbeast runs like a bullet with energy from their possible teleportation into the middle of day East Austin, named Bulka, which is both the name of used tires as well as a play on the word Vulcan. Hernandez is encouraging us to consider the impact of science fiction in this alien presence that could possibly live and work and appear among us and before us. Sound of Winter is an attempt to confront this question of gentrification and housing in Texas, and becomes therefore a social commentary about these economic realities facing Latinos in the region. In Dicochea's work, we revisit the tradition of casta painting, a familiar genre in 19th century Latin American portraiture, only instead of modeling the intermixing between indigeno and mestizo, what we have here is a splicing, an intermixing of commercial figures that end up creating a new alien species, another way of thinking about a post-humanism, or a new model of humanism that is not only organically grown, but inorganically grown through celluloid, through digital references, through popular science fiction visual vocabularies that then result in sometimes monstrous, experimental, and musings on the fantastic.